I'm now at the Billie Holiday statue in Baltimore, Maryland on Pennsylvania Avenue. Looks pretty good statue. Dedicated in the, started commissioned in the 70s. Finally got finished in the 80s. And then they added this new pedestal base in the later in 2007 I hear. So it's a pretty nice statue. Pretty cool. A little raven on there. And that has to do with the her famous song "Strange Fruit," the lynchings, the horrible lynchings that took place. And in a lot of places she was not allowed. Born Eleanor Harris. I think it's Eleanor Fagan. Rose on the dust of poverty. And then right across the street over there is the Royal Theater where she used to sing. So they have a little structure there, but it's been torn down. But that's it. Beautiful statue of her. Now we're gonna go to her house. 1915, 1959. Where she grew up over near Fells Point. Okay, I'm now in Upper Fells Point, Baltimore, at the street, the house, actually it's an alley street, where the legendary Billie Holiday grew up, right on this street right here. It's called Durham Street. And there's a few nice little tributes here to her. There's a nice poster of her at the Royal Theater. That's where we just were earlier, over on Pennsylvania Avenue. Now Billie was born Eleanor Fagan. For some reason her mother lived here, but then ran up to Philly to have her born up there. Here's a pretty cool mosaic, glass sort of mosaic of Billie. Now, to me, Billie Holiday was the greatest female singer that ever lived. Definitely the greatest one of the greatest jazz singers ever lived. Probably, to me, the best jazz female vocalist. I mean, when she sings, you know it's her immediately. She has her own style. She had her own style and didn't sound like anybody else. Now, supposedly, okay, this is the house, 217 South Durham, where Billy's, or Eleanora Fagan, spent much of her childhood here in 219. So you got 219 and 217. Now we're in Upper Fells Point, and she kind of got her start as a young girl. She would go down to Fells Point to the whiskey houses and the bars and the brothels and start singing for tips. So unfortunately, in this house, it was either 217 or 219. In 1920, she was born in 1915 in April, and then when she was 11 years old, in 1926, unfortunately, she was raped in one of these houses, and by an older man, and her mother came home and found her being raped. So she lived a pretty rough childhood, and you know, she became very streetwise living in this part of Baltimore between 1915, when she was born, and 1926, when she got raped. And then shortly after that, her mother moved her to Harlem, New York. So anyway, her mother moved her to New York City, to Harlem, where she sang around up there for years, and then that's where she became famous. And then she picked up with she met up with Lester Young, her very good friend Lester Young, and she idolized Louis Armstrong, and she played in sang in Benny Goodman's band, and she did a lot and became world famous. Unfortunately, she was hampered by a terrible drug addiction, which eventually killed her in 1959 when she was 44 years old. And I hear that the police harassed her a lot, and I pretty much heard that they handcuffed her on her deathbed in her hospital bed. But she was pretty streetwise and didn't take any shit from anybody. And this is where she learned all that, how to be streetwise, in Baltimore. So this is South Durham Street. So young Eleanora Fagan, otherwise known as Billie Holiday, there's another mural of her. Very nice. Glad they decorated this street up for her, because there was a lot of complaints a few years ago that Baltimore was not doing enough for her recognition of a superstar who grew up here. And they finally put the statue up where we were earlier on Pennsylvania Avenue, which is not bad, but somewhat dangerous area. This is a little bit, I feel a lot safer here. But anyway, but as you can see, Upper Fells Point is now been kind of gentrified. All the young professionals have moved in and bought up all the These little townhouses and row houses. And now they're pretty expensive. Fixed them all up. Been doing that for like 25 years.